Okay, Khan, Shalom Akim, Kahalalim La Yahaba Shem Yashaba Shem Kurash, and double honors to the great Muslim apostles as well. Thadi Yashab for giving me the power in order to make this video as well. And this is just a part 2, the continuation from the previous video, which is based upon back to the basics, man. And the point that I made in the last video before I ran out of storage was about the fact that the reason why we need to know the appearance of the Most High and Yahweh Shai is so that we're able to discern whether we're worshipping an idol or the actual power of the whole of creation. Because in Deuteronomy 5, I think it mentions the laws of which Israel is supposed to obey, and of course, rightfully so. It's through the commandments. That's how we're separate from these heathen nations as well. Our ways of life are different to theirs. So let me get Deuteronomy 5, then I'll read some scriptures pertaining to that. If I'll get Deuteronomy 28 as well. But first, let me get chapter 5. Yeah, so okay, I'm just checking what verse I need to get. I'll read verse 1, which is the core part. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 1. And Moses called all Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears to this day, that ye may learn them and keep and do them. So of course the intention is for Israel to listen to the commandments that Yahweh bestows upon them. Of course, we've got rules. We have to follow those rules, which is the basic message here. And I'm still going to get to the point why we need to know about the appearance of the Most High, at least to a certain degree, and Yahweh Shai to a certain degree as well. Which that really goes into Deuteronomy 28 and the curses, man, not to worship idols. But I'll get that. But the point is the commandments of which Yahweh Shai, of which Yahweh has commanded us to follow. And of course, Yahweh Shai reinforcing that in the book of Matthew as well. The point is we're supposed to listen to Yahweh Shai. That's ultimately what it's saying, man. Whatever they command us, that's what we're supposed to do. But yeah, getting to the point of, so that's Deuteronomy 5, which is pertaining to the importance of the commandments. So how we're supposed to be living is really by the rule of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. So let me get Deuteronomy chapter 28 right now. Pertaining to, thou shalt not worship idols, something along those lines. But yeah, it's in Deuteronomy 28. About the blessings and curses Israel will get if they listen to the Most High. They will get blessings. If they don't listen, they'll get curses, which is why they're in the state that they're in right now. Which is why we are in the state that we're in right now. And let me actually read it first, then I'll elaborate more. So let's see. It's from like verse 15 onwards. Wait, so okay, wait. Actually, hold on. I might have to go back to verse 5 because I feel as if I missed something there. But before I go to verse 5, I mean, not verse 5, chapter 5, Deuteronomy chapter 5. But first of all, this is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. It says, But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Which again is the point that I made previously with the commandments we're supposed to follow in Deuteronomy 5. If you don't follow them, in Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15, it talks about the fact that all these curses that are listed onwards from Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15 onwards, up to like verse 62 or 64. But the point is, all those curses listed there, that's what's going to apply, that's what's going to affect us, man. And it has actually affected us. But let me get Deuteronomy 5. I did say I needed to get to the point. And that point was pertaining to idols, man. I'm just trying to look for that verse. Yeah, I found it now. I found it. Things in right. Yeah, quite a few verses. Right. Yeah. It's quite a few verses, but yeah, let me start reading from verse 7. So this is part of Deuteronomy 5, which where Moses was talking about the laws that were supposed to follow, the commandments from the Most High. It says here, Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 7, "Thou shalt have none other gods before me." It says verse 8, "Thou shalt not make thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, and that is in the waters beneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and the fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy upon thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments." Verse 11, "Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain." So that's pretty much 2 points right there. The first point is pertaining to idols. It talked about that in verse 7. It says, "Thou shalt not have none other gods before me." And in verse 8, it talks about graven images. "Thou shalt not make thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth." So the point is, don't create idols. Right there. It says, "Thou shalt not," in verse 9, it says, "Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them." So of course, giving worship unto these idols. That and idols are pretty much reference to Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and all the other philosophies of the world, which Esau was then created to then, what is it? Shift away Jake from the Most High, man. And of course, one of the commandments here, it says, don't worship graven images, man. Don't worship these idols. And as we know, the scriptures also say the idols of the nations, the gods of the other nations are idols. And I'll get that right now. Because also, and really the reason why I'm bringing out this scripture on Deuteronomy 5 is really to reiterate, emphasize the importance of the fact that if we don't know that if we didn't know, if we didn't know the difference between serving an idol and serving the Most High, that means all our works will be vain. So it's essential to know how the Most High would look like to a certain degree, which makes sense why it's mentioned within the scriptures. Revelation 4 verse 3, and I think Daniel 10 verse 6, Revelation 1 Revelation 1 13 to 14, 13 to 15, pertaining to Yahushua, Revelation 4 verse 3 pertaining to the Most High, and I think Daniel either 10 verse 6 or 7 verse 6 pertain to the Most High as well. Yeah, the one that refers to him as the Ancient of Days. So that's the point right there why his appearance is important. You can't just say the looks of the Most High don't matter, because to a certain degree we need to have some knowledge of it, or else we wouldn't be able to discern whether we're worshipping an idol or not. And also, it talks about not making graven images. And if you then go to, because most of Israel probably grew up in a Catholic or Christian household. And of course, when going to church, you see all these statues, Like, I'm Nigerian. The last time that I went to Nigeria, that was pre-truth, like way before the truth. The thing is, there were graven images, man, of the false depiction of Yahushua, which that even depicting Yahushua, man, but of so-called Jesus Christ. Cesare Borgia, man. That's the painting of which they got over there in Nigeria in certain churches, man. So of course that's a graven image, and that's an idol of which our people are so clinged onto, man. They're so clinging onto that idol, and that's what you're not supposed to do. And that goes into my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. If you don't have knowledge of how the Most High look like, or how Yahushua look like, how can you discern whether you're worshipping an idol or the actual creator of the whole universe, man? This is why knowledge is essential. This is why that study is essential. That's why we have to keep watching the videos from the apostles. Got to keep watching the videos from the elders. Gotta keep learning. Gotta keep studying. Gotta, gotta be diligent, man. That's the point. So, this video goes into the basics, man. The basic knowledge of which, Israel should be having. It's pretty much a way for me to also keep the mind fresh in, certain scriptures as well. So, so Hosea 4 verse 6, man, pertaining to our people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. But let me get the other one pertaining to that's about the gods of the nations, the other heathen nations are idols. That's probably in Psalms or something. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. This is Psalm 96 verse 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord Yahweh made the heavens. Simple as it is, man. So you gotta know the difference between the Most High and the idols of these nations, man. And clearly the commandments as well are also another way of discerning what we're supposed to be doing and what we're not supposed to do. Again, blessings if we listen to the commandments and curses if we don't. So of course, for those who do worship the idol, going into Deuteronomy chapter 28, let me get to, they're going to get these harsh curses, man. And really, as a nation, we've all suffered through the majority of these curses, anyways. Especially that one about the transatlantic slave trade, being shipped from place to place, as slaves. So lucky. Let me actually get that too. Yeah. You always gotta have this basic knowledge, man, of who you actually are, what we're supposed to be doing, which is obeying the Most High and Yahweh Shai. So, I'm gonna read probably a few key points pertaining to Israel. So, lucky, let me actually get this. I'll get the one about the ships. Then I'll go back to the other ones. So that's in verse 60 something. So Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 64. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which that neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." Wait, there was a key one here, man. But yeah, that is true though, because if you go into Latin American history as well, because that's something I've been reading lately. Just learn about the Latin tribes. Argentina, Peru, the Inca tribe, which are the modern day Peruvians, Peru people. You got the Aztecs, that are the Mexicans, and so those are like some history pertaining to the Latin tribes. And then pretty much history from like the 1600s up to the modern day right now, man. But the point is, when the Spaniards, the Portuguese, and who else? The Spaniards, Portuguese, and the French, which is where the thing Latin America is. The reason why it's called Latin America is because they spoke Latin-based languages, man. Because Spanish, Portuguese, the French, those are Latin-based languages. And then those people came to where the tribes were dwelling, like the Aztecs and the Incas as well, and the Mayans as well. The things they were over there, I think, in the land of the Americas lands, South, North, and Central America. The things when they came in, the point is, the French, the Portuguese, and the Spaniards, they brought Christianity onto them, man. They pretty much forced it upon them. You know, I mean, Jay wasn't in a righteous position anyways prior to that, because they were worshiping idols. But of course, these are all part of the curses, man. These are all part of the curses. So you know, they went from pretty much idol to idol. Well, in that time period, which I'll probably do a few more lessons based on that too. Things I finished the book, but I just wanna, you know, just study it again to get some key dates and incidents that happened, man, like such as the caste system as well, which was pretty much where. Anyways, that's really another video, man. That's another video. But the point is, Christianity was brought upon the Latin America, man. There's a lot of history to this, and of course, the reason why I was talking about that history is because of the verse that I just read. It says Deuteronomy 28 verse 64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and we can refer to the speckled birds from that as well, man. You know, Israelites being scattered everywhere, then you know them sleeping with the women of those nations. Then down the line, generation upon generation, you know, you may have an Israelite that doesn't look like a typical Israelite. You know, that doesn't look like a typical Latino, doesn't look like a typical Native American Indian, doesn't look like a typical so-called black man or Benjamite or, you know, as the tribes of Israel. You know, they may look like the other nations, man, because that's how it is. You know, that's why you can't just judge by the skin color. So again, it goes into having that knowledge, man. If you ain't got that knowledge, that's destruction. Hosea 4 verse 6. But yeah, this one's another one. Actually, let me finish the one. So yeah, from one end of the earth, this is Deuteronomy 20 verse 64, by the way, continuing on. From one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So again, as the Spaniards, the Portuguese, the French, they brought Christianity, which is an idol, onto Jake, man, onto Israel, you know, the Latin tribes. That's the thing. So that's just one example of that. So Deuteronomy 28 verse 68, which is the one that I wanted to bring, says, and the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So again, you know, typically that goes also into this transatlantic slave trade. So you know, Israel's affected hard in these curses, man. And you know, you got other ones as well, such as let's see. There's one talking about pestilences, man. Let me try to get there's a curse pertaining to pestilences and sicknesses as well. Which that let me read it first before, because I'm trying to look for it. Wait. Okay. Oh yeah, Consuloki. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Well, I can read it as well. There's also other curses pertaining to sickness too. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 21. And the Lord Yahweh shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from the land, off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. So of course, we can also get into the history of the Native American Indians, where when I think it was the British that came. When the British came through into those Native American Indian lands, then they gave them what is it? Some kind of a cloth or something, you know, to cover themselves for some reason. I haven't really researched too hard into it. It's been some time before I've researched into it. But I think they gave them some cloth, of which these cloths had some sicknesses, of which Esau created in order to, well, affect the Native American Indians. I think it was smallpox. It's like cloths of which had smallpox on them. And obviously because the Native American Indians didn't have that immunity built up to resist it, they were affected by it, man. So again, that goes into the curses as well in some way. Pestilences, sicknesses. So let me get the root word for pestilence, and so that we know the meaning of it too. All right, let's see.
Strong's H 1698. Dever. Dever.
Let me play again.
Strong's H 1698. Dever. Dever.
If it's saying dever or deber, because I'm seeing deber, but it sounded like dever. But thing is, it says here a pestilence, murrain, pestilence, plague. So cow disease, cattle plague, they're pertaining to some kind of sickness, man. So that's just some little brief, vague history that I remember, but I still got to do more reading into that as well, the history of the Native American Indians, man. So there'll probably be some future lessons to make as well. So again, where he also says here in Deuteronomy 28 verse 61, also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord Yahweh bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. So of course again, as I made that example of the Native American history, man, Esau Edom bringing smallpox to the Native American Indians and then them being affected by it. That's also part of the curses. Of course, if one doesn't have the spiritual eye to see, they won't be able to know, oh, so that's why they were in that position, or that's why we were in that position. Because, as I said, Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians were all one as Israel. We're all Israelites. So, that's pertaining to the curses, and there's many curses, as I said, there's from verse 15 onwards, man, or verse 16 onwards. And that's for our disobedience unto the Most High. Let me get something on Exodus. Because there was a time in which the Most High, I think that was after he... what was it? After he either fed Israel with food, with the manna, the manna that was referenced as honey and as a wafer that tasted like honey or something. And then he used that as a test whether to see Israel would obey. And of course, certain Israelites, they wanted extra food, but then the worms affected the food, man, overnight. But yeah, there was something about the commandments, though. Wait. Trying to remember what chapter the thing is in. It's probably Exodus 15. Actually, that was that. Wait. It's between Exodus 14 and 16. I just need to try to get. Yeah, it's probably 16. Okay. It's right near the end. Near the end. About the Most High talking about us following His commandments, man. And Him saying that if we follow the commandments, none of the plagues of Egypt would affect us. So that's the scripture that I'm looking for right now. It's in verse 16. It's in verse 16. Yeah, Salak. I know I'm almost there. Just Wait. Yeah, I'm just checking if it gets cut off. But I know either it should have been there. Because the initial reason was of course the Most High sticks to his word, man. Exodus 16 is evidence of that too. I can just find the verse about the commandments. By listening to the commandments, the statutes. So lucky. I know this is taking some time. Okay. Right. Yeah, so lucky. I had to pause the video there. But I found it was in the it was in the previous chapter, Exodus 15. So Exodus 15 verse 26. He said, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord Yahweh, thy God, and wilt do that which is right in his sight, I will give ear to his commandments and keep all his statutes. I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon Egypt, upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord Yahweh that healeth thee. So of course that also throws away the fact of people putting their trust in Esau's medicine, man. If the Most High don't want you to be healed, you're gonna be in that sickness. If the Most High wants you to be healed, then you're gonna be healed, man. You don't need to rely upon Esau's medicine. It's all up to the Most High. That's why it's always essential for Israel to keep praying for that healing whenever they're sick, and to obviously develop that trust in the Most High, man. Because obviously in that time where we've detached from the Most High, we've got to develop that trust in the Most High again. And of course, which really is Israel's fault for disobeying. That's why they were in that distrustful state. But return back to the verse, talking about the Most High, if we diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord Yahweh, and also follow his commandments and statutes, then we wouldn't be affected by the plagues. But of course, because the fact that we didn't listen, we had disobedience, that's why we're in this position of having sicknesses, having all these curses. Jake just confused, don't know what to worship. You tell him straight up, you gotta worship Yahweh Yahushua. It's not for every Israelite to understand, man. They're not actually gonna get it. Israel's just so low right now. They rather worship the white Jesus Christ. Like, it's just nonsense, man. They either want to worship that or they want to go into Islam, which it's an idol today, of which it's got a stronghold upon certain Israelites, man. It's got a stronghold. But anyways, that's the point right there, man. Because Exodus 15 was after Israel then came out of Egypt, after crossing the Red Sea, man. So of course they were then in the wilderness, and they were thirsty. Then obviously the Most High provided water for them. And then after, at the end of verse 15, Exodus chapter 15, was when the Most High said, if you listen to me, my commandments that I give you, then you'll be fine. That's essentially what he was saying. But of course we didn't listen. That's why we're not fine in this position. That's why we're the lowest of everyone in this society, and of course, that pretty much sums it all up right there, man. That we're the lowest of the lowest. So let's get I think that was I'm gonna make a part 3 because I wanna try and break it down. But yeah, Shalom Akim Yara Tazar. I'll make a part 3. And y'all Bashim Yashab Brakatha.